Come on now, let's go. Hello, mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, uncles and aunties, boys and girls, male and female, he and she, they and them, and all the future people, whoever, everybody. This is HD. But now, I know you're watching us in high definition, but that's not what this is. This is Hero's Diary, the show that celebrates success, the hero's journey. People who have started from nothing to become something. People who have had to undergo so much being thrown at them, who have had to experience racism, discrimination, hardship, poverty, what have you, especially people like us. They've had to go through so much to become something that in a lot of cases, the world now appreciates. The world now celebrates. The world now adores and look at them and go like, whoa, okay, this is really worth becoming. Now, we are black people. It's not always easy for us, but somehow some of us, a lot of us now are beginning to break through. We're beginning to be recognized. We're beginning to count. We're beginning to make our voice heard. And this is what HD is all about. So this is Hero's Diary. Welcome. My name is Keni Ogunlola, or Keni Lola, as you might want to call me. And hey, today, oh my days, I don't want to go, but we're going to go right into it. For now, welcome to the show. Alistair Soyode.
Be realistic to yourself.
Right. So, oh my days. Like I said, it's HD, it's Hero's Diary, and we're rolling now. You want to find out what's going on today? I am in the presence of legendary. You know what I mean? Presence of royalty. Now, I know that some of you might not know what's going on, but sometimes for us black people coming from Africa to the UK or to the Western world to get to do stuff that at the end of the day, not only succeed, but people appreciate, people respect, and survive over time and thrives through time, that is really difficult. So who I've got in today is legendary. It's a personal mentor, a role model, someone I've always looked up to that I really appreciate, and he is the founder of the longest running black African television station in the UK. 23 years and still going. I don't want to talk too much because it looks like I am already. I'm just going to jump straight into it. Ladies and gentlemen, please, royalty welcome for the one and only Dr. Commandant Alistair Soyode. Sir.
Wow, thank you very much, Kenny. It's a pleasure to be here with you, and what a energy you have shown. So I hope I'll be able to match up just to lift up my spirit a little bit more to see if I can catch up.
We got to lift you up, man, because you ain't seen nothing yet. I got to just do the customary thing because, boss, I have to pay you respect. You know what I mean? Like you know how it is. Rank it in. How you doing, sir? Welcome to the show, man.
It's a pleasure.
How's it been? Everything good?
So far, so good. Yeah. We can't complain.
Nice.
You come across challenges and you try to find a solution to overcome them.
Oh, my God. Now you're just throwing us right into it. What does that mean?
Well, in life, I think we just have to be ready for what comes through, what we see, what we encounter. One thing that I said to myself now is when you hear a story or when somebody tells you something, don't quickly assume that is the final decision. Look for second option. Look for the other side of the story. Hopefully with that, you'll be able to decide if what you're hearing and what you're seeing, what you're going through is the final decision made for you by humans or by God. So with that, at least, as you face the obstacle, the challenges, the opportunities of life, then I think one thing I always say is just be grateful. Somebody might have a worse situation, and somebody may have a better opportunity than you. But be grateful where you are, and hopefully you find somebody that will lift your spirit. I have been lifted already.
Wow, nice. I mean, you touched on something there. You find out it's decision by human or by God. How do you make that distinction? Like, how do you decide? Like, okay, for example, you're doing stuff now that you really want to do, something you're really passionate about, and it's just so difficult to accomplish. There's just obstacles left, right, and center. Each way you go, bam. Each way you go, bam. How do you know if it's a human factor or if it's just destiny and you should just resign yourself to it, or you have to fight to make it happen? How do you make that distinction?
I think there's a situation to say if you can change something and you're able to change it, then that means you're changing it. And if you encounter something that you know you cannot change, then it means basically you cannot change it. Because if somebody tell me something now and say, oh, in our culture, I'm African, fully Nigerian.
So are we,
You
boss.
know? So when you come encounter situation, because there's a time that I went to Nigeria and I speak Yoruba, Hausa, and then I asked this guy to go and get me something they call suya.
Yeah.
And he responded and said, Owokwo, meaning there is plenty money.
money.
And then 30 minutes after, which then I've calculated that he must have reached the destination, bought the thing and come back, and there's no suya in front of me. So I call out and I say, oh, where is the barbecue? I asked him to go and buy.
Yeah.
And somebody said, oh, he's still here. It's like, what is he doing here? Where is what I asked you to go and buy? I said, somebody actually came forward and I said, oh, you remember he said, oh, meaning there's plenty money. So if there's plenty money, where is the product? And actually then I realized that it meant that he's speaking in faith. And I said, please, next time, don't speak in faith. Tell people what it is. If you're ill, ask for medication rather than holding. And hopefully that medication will work because you have faith, rather than not taking medication and believing that it's total faith. So I think there are situations that you recognize what you can do as human, and while you believe in what you believe in, that you'll be able to have remedy through it. But at the end of the day, as I said, what you can change, I think you will know definitely you can. And what you know you cannot, it doesn't really change the situation. You just have to accept and then hope that if it is negative, hope that as you continue that journey, it will turn to positive. But if it's already positive, at the end of the day, that's what you want.
Wow. But you've touched on faith, and faith, especially amongst Africans, this is massive. This is really, really massive for us. And people keep going regardless of all obstacles. And just like with faith and with like positive thinking and positive speaking and all that, the impression you get is you have to keep going on. You have to keep at it. You have to keep doing it. You don't give up. You don't surrender. You know, stuff like that. It's all bang, 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 bang. You know, with faith, at what point do you actually determine that, okay, this is not going to happen. Maybe it's not for me, you know, because you in your own life, which we're going to come to, you've demonstrated going through so much challenges and overcoming and doing stuff and on your own. But at what point do you actually decide? And also because of you're from the northern part of Nigeria, where obviously faith plays a huge part as well. So how do you make that distinction still, like to decide that, okay, at this point, it's no longer, I have to just hands off and know that this is not happening?
Well, probably there are things that we have all been through, especially during the C-19 crisis, the
Right.
COVID-19.
Okay.
And within that period, you realize that people suddenly were faced with different things and nobody seemed to know what is actually happening. And of course, many people believe that, well, you don't need to join, you don't need to take the medication, you don't need to take the vaccination, and they sustain and they survive. Other people have this conspiracy theory, but it's all there. And for me, I have somebody I classify to be a son, and indeed it is. And they had a crash, and he disappeared. Basically, he died.
Right.
And suddenly, for me, and all the things that happened around me just said, okay, you know, you've always been saying that you cannot control tomorrow, which means your last day is the day that you are alive, because nobody really knows when they're going to die.
Yeah.
So the aspect for me is always be prepared. And I would say it as well now, it's like, okay, I'm here now having this conversation with you, and I might live here, and then tomorrow morning the story might flash and say, oh, the guy is gone, he's dead.
God forbid.
Then, exactly. So you see, that is the Nigerian thing to say,
God forbid. God forbid.
But
Like that.
When do you know when God beat?
Well,
Right?
when it happens.
When it happens. Exactly. So almost every second for me is the last second.
Yeah.
What have I done not to regret? So that's the life I'm living now.
Right.
So it has reached that stage for me to wake up and say, right, every minute just do the best that you can. Help the people that you can help. If they punch you, if you can take the punch, move. If you can't and you have to fight back, then do.
Wow.
And that's just the life now I'm living, sharing my experience, mentoring people, wearing my wonderful uniform for the mentorship that I'm doing.
Yes.
And so for me, that is the life now I have dedicated to say, right, thank you, Father, for bringing me. Thank you, Lord, for giving me the opportunity to create the story that I have been part of. And we have changed the narrative. We have, through our platform, done quite a lot of things that have really brought the Black community to the global community in a positive way.
Wow.
And so for me, that is the joy. But as I said, really, you can't control your living for today and thinking you have another 10 years. So every time, just think that this could be it.
This could be it. Every day is important. Wow. Thank you very much, boss. Thank you. Again, you are a living legend. Permit me to say, I just have to keep repeating that because you are to me. And a big hero, a big mentor, and all this. You've done so much for not just the Nigerian community, not just the African community, but the Black community in general. This journey to get into where you are today, how did it start as a child?
Well, I am more interested in sport
Right.
years ago and wanted to play the so-called football. And I guess I describe it to say the weather, coming from beautiful, lovely Nigerian weather, warm, nice, into
unlike the UK
winter season. And so I wasn't strong enough to stay that long. Find a decent club that I can nurture, or that can nurture me to become that top player that I thought I will end up being. Right. And out of that, of course, then you come across the stories of the Black community, the Black people. More so when anything happened that is negatively portrayed, the story will orient within the Black community, and then it will end up saying he's Nigerian. And so for me, it's like, oh no, not every crime is being committed that is committed by Nigerians. I need to find the positive Nigerians and the Black people and show them on TV. Right. Not necessarily in the UK, but to produce program and then send it to Nigeria for the Nigerian television station to show that we have decent Nigerians. In the UK. Wow. So I have no background in television, but it's just the passion of saying we must create that platform. And so that is what took me into television, into trying to get a camera and trying to produce it. And then in my research and investigation, I found out that actually there's no platform that represents our people. Right. And I thought, maybe actually, while now thinking about producing program, actually I can try to see if I can launch a television, no background still. And in those days, of course, to think of that, you're talking of millions. And the technology is not the
pounds.
Same. Of course. The technology is not the same as you have today. Wow. In fact, there's almost everything is bulky. The prices are much more higher. And that's what then led to developing the platform, the strategy, and then it then became a TV station. So from trying to produce program for TV, I then end up launching a Black UK satellite television that covers United Kingdom and across Europe. And so that's really what took me into television, just to change the narrative of the Black community and my dear country, Nigeria.
Let's pause a bit there, because there's a lot you've talked about there, and I don't want us to just skip over it, because I think that's a really, really important part of it. So from having this desire to change the narrative, to getting your own cameras, to doing your own thing, to finally establishing a satellite television station in the UK. I beg, just talk us through that process. Really, how, because that's not like, I can't wake up today and decide to just do it. It's not like something any of my guys here can just wake up and do. How did you get that done?
Truly speaking, up to this minute, I probably haven't got the real story about it. And that is saying, how did it actually happen? But
you don't know how it happened?
The reality is, to even sustain it to be alive,
I mean, we're going to get to sustaining it, but that's another question.
I would say, really, is looking at it and saying, okay, you have a business plan in your Sony VOW, VOID.
I mean, a lot of our viewers these days don't know what that is.
So I have that laptop, and I was having everything inside, and going across to people and say, a I think I want to launch a TV station.
Wow.
Okay, how are you going to do that? Nobody has done it. Yes. And are you in the TV industry? No, I'm not.
Wow.
Well, for every minus, it reduces the impact of you getting partners that will believe in doing it. And so it was very challenging, to be honest.
Wait. Sorry. Can you repeat that? For every minus, I just
Yes,
want to understand what that means.
For every minus, there's harder challenge for you to overcome. Because number one, as I'm speaking to the people, and the question is, have you got any experience? I don't have any experience. It's a minus. Because that means that we don't trust that you can do it. Are you an editor? No, I'm not. Wow. Have you done TV work before? No, I haven't. So, and you want us to put millions into this project?
Wow.
Yes, I believe so. And just to change the stories, where is the business coming from? Where are you going to get the advertising and all those things? So, but for every day that I get the knock, I then believe that it is possible to do it.
How?
It might not be me alone, but the truth is I'm the one that is driving it. And I've come across big African Caribbean personalities in the UK that I was selling the idea to who don't believe it is possible. Because it's like it hasn't been done. And you're talking of raising tens of £1 million in those days to launch this thing that hasn't been done. Other people probably that have done maybe cable have all gone. And so how are you going to sustain it? And at the end of the day, I applied for then the Ofcom license, which is not as easy. Well, almost everything then is totally different from today. Right. And I applied for the satellite license. It was given. Big stories come out of that. Oh, the first black TV station is going to launch, and this is the guy who's going to launch it. But to be honest, I was not celebrating anything to do with being the person who's going to launch the first UK-based TV station. Yeah. Because for me, it's like I can look through and I'm seeing the Herculean tax ahead of me. Wow. So what's the need to celebrate now when I cannot see the partners, the money, everything that is needed? So I wasn't celebrating my business until probably a few years ago that I start maybe fully being recognized around the platform.
So when you look forward at that time, all you're seeing, you're not seeing what they are probably saying. You're seeing fear, worry, obstacles.
Obstacles.
So why would you carry on in that case?
Sometimes you get to the state that the story about the black people is just portraying everything that you don't want to see. And when we now talk about the Western media portraying Africans or the black community in the way they are, but that's the story that they feel that they can portray. And as of this age now, I stop blaming the Western media for portraying Africans or the black community the way that they want to portray us. Because now we have the capacity to portray ourselves the way that we want the world to recognize us. So I don't challenge them anymore. So the question is, what is Keni doing? What is Alistair doing? What are other media platforms doing to change the narrative? So if we can change the narrative, then it means we can change the situation. So, and as I look into that, then it's now saying, okay, well, it's doable. And then I find finally saying, okay, it is possible. But again, in those days, you have platforms that are dedicated to ministries, what I call ministries, the churches and other platforms. Yeah, okay. And they're mostly from the United States, who are trying to break into the European market. And then by the time now I'm the only person who have the license, I then find partners who are really looking for a platform to take this content to. And then my channel was there. And basically, so the content came on board. And then I'm now running into the African countries, especially my dear Nigeria, to say, right, this is a platform for us to change the narrative. And then through that, the product became something that is tangible, something that is now on Sky platform. But I can be honest to say, for years, and many years, I was just going on a monthly basis.
Okay. You're just busting my brain as you're saying all this. Because so you've just touched on something else now that I'd really like you to drill on monthly basis. So essentially what you're saying is you're running this project, it's just about the next month.
That's correct.
We make it. It's just about the next month.
Correct.
We make it. It's just about the next month. What happens to long-term planning?
You see, you have a long-term plan, you have your business plan that shows you that in the next 5 years, this is what the big business is going to be. But when you do not have the people who believe and you don't have the people who have the capacity,
Wow.
there's a lot of Africans, black people in the UK that say they have money, which is true. But the money is individual money, it's personal money, it's not a corporate money, which means the money is not generated from running a big business that is nationally recognized, even up to this minute. We do not have many businesses that are owned by Africans that you say this is a multi-million company with big resources, capital, staff, and everything. We don't have that many that are spread nationwide. We don't have it. So at that time, it's even harder to now talk about big companies that have the capacity. And then now you're talking about every media, at least up to even today's day, depend on revenue from sponsorship and advertising to make their income. How many businesses do we have that have got the money to spread nationally because they have branches across the country? You may have a barber shop, you may have a restaurant, you may have a big guy who deals in properties in a location rather than across the country.
Right.
That is a different ballgame. So advertising revenue that sustained many businesses wasn't available. And then again, you are then the black-oriented TV station, which to all the mainstream, how long is this channel going to stay? So that is the question as well. So you're being challenged by how long. Even your own people, it's like, we've never seen it, but I guess they're going to disappear very soon. And somehow, so you're fighting about that, and that's why I'm saying, for years, it's not a joy for me to come forward and say, yeah, I'm the guy. Because it's like, what about if next month we're not here? What about next month if I'm not here? And everywhere, they need Ben to be there to cover what is happening. Whatever it is, they need Ben. Ben, you got to be there. You got to be there. Wow. So by the time you do all these tiny resources, even then you might say, well, of course, we don't have Oyster card then. One day travel card could be £2.50. By the time you do £2.50 times sending 10 people out, it's already become £25 a day. So all those are multiplying effects that makes it very challenging. But somehow, you just keep your head under the table, not even on top of the table, just to keep pushing.
On a personal note, how do you face that fear? Because I can imagine how huge the fear of tomorrow will be when you're running things like that. I mean, I run businesses as well, nowhere near what you're doing, but I know how difficult, and this is why I'm kind of emphasizing on this point of long term rather than taking it step by step, because with the so-called, positive thinking mentality and all that is about having that plan, having all this kind of stuff. But I'm just really glad that you touched on that step-by-step bit, because I think it's really important. It's a step that a lot of people are not aware of. They think you have to have that plan outlaid. But you got to be very conscious of what's happening day by day, because day by day is where you move it onto the long term.
Correct.
But how do you face that fear of the day by day if you know that this month we probably don't have salaries for next month? We don't have overheads for next month.
True.
Bro, how?
I end up having a person who believed totally that Africa is the new frontier. And I then provided services for them. African Business Roundtable, ABR, is a private-led organization in Africa that supports the private sector, SMEs and everything, Dr. Mamangatuku. So I work with them, strengthening that organization through the platform.
Right.
And they key into that Africa definitely must tell her story to the world. And this young man and his team are fully dedicated to doing that. We didn't go into the business of making money. We didn't make money by running our platform. But just like we have saw on Netflix, there is nothing as of now that has been celebrated that somehow didn't go through Ben to get that exposure. Right. From the music, from the African music, the African entertainment, the big politicians. The only platform then that brought them to the European presence is Ben Television. You can name the top Nigerian artists, the top African artists, receiving an award here, the possibility, the music industry, the movie industry, all this thing used to be only on
Ben television.
and of course, now you probably have almost 20 to 30 oriented African black TV station on the Sky platform. But somehow, across all of them, which I've been been in a humble way, somehow have passed through Ben TV, or Ben, of course, made it possible for people to really recognize that indeed Africa and the black community in the United Kingdom are contributing immensely into the development of UK as a nation, Europe as a continent, and bridging the gap between Africa and the black community here. So that to us is the joy that we have taken away.
Right.
And humbly, we in the team that have contributed to that are humbly just like, we don't exist and we don't need anybody to pat our back, because what we did was just because we believe we have to do it.
Right. So have you got into that point of stability now where you're confident of a bit of a next year, 2 years' time, 3 years' time, or is it still month by month?
Well, up to this minute now, I actually made it week by week. Because right now I'm looking into the industry to say, okay, well, technology has definitely strong, providing better quality option and tiny, smallest items to produce content. And when I then look at the black media in the UK, especially those that are based in the United Kingdom, we have the likes of Yanga TV, Ben, the Ghana TV, Channel 7. What then happened is, as old as I am, to take a back seat, we decided to say, let's strengthen and create a stronger platform and making the necessary adjustment that is needed. Because now the global community, the media world, has totally changed. People are producing content left, right, and center. At any given time, people can produce content and send it out. Yeah. And all you have to do is go to YouTube and all these other social media platforms to see how many followers these people have on their own. Many of your potential advertisers are now running their own channel independently on the social media and all this, and they can feel it. But the difference between you and the rest is the brand name. The brand name is the brand name. It means that when you're not too sure and you can see it on social platform, you know then the story is most likely to be true. Authoritative, and approved. That's the difference between us and the rest. So now really in terms of distribution platform, you have the Freeview, you have the IPTV, you have the online television, and then you have the Sky platform. So we strengthen the Sky platform because, again, when you talk about running this business, you're talking where you spend more and big amount of money. Yeah. Where you spend more and big amount of money is on the satellite. And now you're talking of hundreds of thousands every month. Now, people like us that have decided to take a small rest, we're semi-retired, in fact retired, is to look at it and say, what do we do to strengthen this platform? Right. Is by bringing and picking the best of the content to let it go on Sky. Individually, we go on our Freeview, IPTV, online. So for us, really, is we have strengthened the voice of the black community, because what you have to look at is in terms of governance. And what I mean by governance is the people that are controlling the system. And the people who are controlling the system would not go to a platform that they don't know. So I'm talking to people in government, the ministers, the MPs, they know this brand name. And it's through this brand name that we get acceptability across the United Kingdom, across Europe, across Africa. Because that name they know for the last 2 decades plus. So we use that name to continue to get what we're looking for, authentic, authoritative, and official, while individually we distribute across other platforms. So for me, really, this is the new strategy that we develop, and that's why I say it weekly, because I'm not as involved as I want to, but I'm still there. Yeah. So you've rightly touched on social media now, which is huge. I mean, YouTube, and now there's Netflix and also and I believe even the likes of BBC are kind of like
if not struggling, but watching their backs that, how are we going to do this now? But where does that leave people like yourself if the BBC can be worried about Apple TV, Netflix, and, Amazon and all these other big boys coming into the game? Because people want to sit down at home now and just watch stuff on their phone,
That's correct.
on their laptop, like, how are you going to compete?
You mentioned the BBC. The BBC is able to sustain and be there because you're giving them the money.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Take away the money and they won't be able to compete.
Right.
The other brand name that you mentioned, they have powerful investment money. Now, Africa and the black community likewise have to do the same if they want their story shared. If they want their authentic story being recognized and noted. Fact of the matter is, the technology are all there for everybody, but the other communities seem to come together to agree on one modality to do. We haven't been able to do that. So this is our reality, these are factual.
Right.
So until when we're able to recognize that likewise for our story to become stronger, we need to come together and create that story and create that content. So as I look into the media of tomorrow, it's totally different from the one that we have experienced. But the opportunities are there without any doubt. My son, Ed Not, run hundreds, millions of stories on a daily basis. And so you have the capacity, you can reach out, and we can do it. But if our own people, which means the big investors, are not willing to, then we will continue to struggle in terms of where we are. And when you talk about the social media, you talk about Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, South Africa, they have more or less the highest number of people on those platforms compared to many of the Western nations. So again, based on that as well, we have the capacity, we have the ability to do it. But the question is, are we using that opportunity to change the narrative?
So why do you think that as black people, as Africans, we are not coming together? What is responsible for that? I mean, it's hard to see if we're not coming together because it's very obvious that we are coming together in certain aspects. But then, like you're saying, in terms of supporting each other, in terms of investment, in terms of development of ideas, training and stuff like that, why are we not willing to collaborate? Why are we not willing to work together to help make things happen?
Maybe trust, maybe experience of it didn't work. So, and probably there's a capacity of saying we want to make money quickly, which in media really and truly, I think sometimes you might call it is a total charitable thing. It's like having a football club and you just wonder when is the club actually going to make profit. But every year you hear they have to buy big players, they have to sustain it and keep going. So there's all these challenges that one has to encounter. But I believe it's something that is doable. Do we have the energy to run around and tell people? Yes, I think we continue to do that to try to convince that if we need our stories to be changed and we need it to be positive or the good story, then we need to do similar things that those that are there are doing. You know, when you're in Africa now, you'll be calling of the Western media in your apartment, where you stay, where is this channel, where is that channel, which are all from the West, rather than where is the African channel when you are in the West.
Wow. Bro, wow, still in it. Like I said, this is Hero's Diary, and the whole idea of this is obviously to take our beautiful viewers on a journey of the hero, on your journey. You know, we've explored some deep parts of it now, but I think it would be great at this point if we went back to like the childhood. You know what I mean? Like, do you want to talk about your childhood? How do you think your experiences as a child shaped you or prepared you for all of these that you've had to take on?
Right. This is very interesting.
Yes, first, let's go.
Right. So I'm from the north, I'm from the south of Nigeria.
Right.
My parents are both from the north and south. I grew up born in Kazana, which is the northern part of the country.
Yeah.
School in Kazana. Come from Kazana. Parents, as I say, south. I classify myself to be the only Nigerian that has no state of origin.
Wow.
Because I think that is one of the problems that we encounter in my country, Nigeria, country of origin. which state are you from? And then by the time you tell them the state you're from, so it's like, are you going to hate me or love me because I'm telling you I'm from Lagos State? And then from there is, oh, what's your last name? Okay, so that's my last name. Oh, does that change the opportunity that is in front of me that belongs to me because of that I can do it? So I am one that basically don't want to talk about state of origin. And right now, in one thing that I'm actually doing to promote this so-called disunity that we've encountered over the last month is to talk about, have a conversation, but don't talk about state of origin. Have conversation, don't talk about religion. Have conversation, just talk about the merit, capability of the person and the capacity of the person, rather than the way that we keep finding ourselves being divided by other means and people. So I grew up in that neighborhood.
Bro, so where does identity come in?
Identity is very important.
Surely we can't just put that aside. It counts.
Over here, where we are in the West, identity is not really the key thing. But in my own place, identity is almost everything. And that's the reason why we're encountering what we are facing today in my community.
Right.
I grew up in doing with the best thing that you can possibly find yourself in. I wouldn't say my parents, because people would know me. I wouldn't say my parents are not rich. I wouldn't say my parents cannot afford meal. I wouldn't say my parents can't afford to buy cars and properties like that.
Yeah.
But reality is I grew up within the context of the houses, the context of the so-called Fulanis.
Right.
And the quietness of that area is you do as you are able to find yourself doing, meaning something we call equal Allah. The way you are.
The will of God.
The will of God is the final thing. So I school over there, and when I study agriculture,
Right.
and I classified myself as a farmer because that's what I study, agriculture and farming, irrigation engineering. And by the time I moved to UK, I've been through banking in Nigeria, and then I came into UK to continue the journey and to live with other members of the family. So at the end of the day, as I said, I've gone into sport. That didn't happen. So my childhood is something I valued. It's something that I think made me who I am today. Be contented with everything that you find yourself in. Don't do things for the sake of the money you're going to gain, but just do the best that you can. Help if you can. And if there's disaster, I want to be the first person to disappear from that venue. Those are the things I learned. And being in the Boy Scout and the rest, yes, you encounter things, but you have to be the best that you can to survive. And I think for me, that nurtured me. And for me, that is what made me who I am as of today. And the tenacity of the Nigerian life is don't give up. And Nigeria is one of the countries that no matter who you are, the guy that you're fighting will still tell you that you are a lesser being. Because the question is, do you know who I am?
Do you know who I am?
Right. So all of us are somebody. But again, you don't need to prove who you are when you know who you are. And I definitely know who I am. If it is royal, I have it in blood. If it is by success or what I have done or where I'm coming from, I don't need to brag about it. And neither do I need to stand and be shocked because somebody has got a bigger thing. But of course, in life, you can say, oh, I have done so and so.
Yeah.
So why am I here rather than why I'm not there? But as I said, I'm contented with life. And the biggest joy I have is my family and my 3 lovely children.
Wow. That's
They're bigger for me than maybe what people might classify that.
Yeah, I mean, that's super inspirational because obviously having love and family around you is something that's really, really good. But one of your major characteristics over time from everyone who knows you and from comments and people who know you is your humility and, your simplicity, if you want to call it that way. Do you find that a key to success? Do you not feel that flamboyance, arrogance, and all that could maybe get you somewhere more?
Bearing in mind that we are Nigerians, we're black people in the United Kingdom, sometimes you definitely believe yes, that can get you somewhere. But I have been to many places that, of course, they don't know who I am because, again, when you wear this material, people see you as a comrade or as a, what they call a labor worker or copper, which is all good for me.
Hustler.
As a hustler. So I'm happy with that. But by the time somebody says, oh, actually, he's the guy from Ben, and then again, it's like, okay, wow. But it pays for me. It works for me. And I've never really been flashy, maybe because I don't have the money to be flash. So
you do have the money, boy. You're a boss, man. What do you mean you don't have the money? We want to have your money.
I have the ideas and yes.
But somehow you get the money for the ideas, bro. I mean, don't listen. I always say to people, don't come on this show and come and humble it. You got to let it go because we want people to see what you've done. So don't come and try to make you feel like I've not done anything. No, you have done something.
Thank you.
But let me put it in perspective. Ben TV has been running for, 23 years now?
Yeah.
In those time, I can count numerous Nigerian, African-based channels that have come and gone.
True.
And let me chip this in, which you might not like, but I'm going to chip it in. A lot of them with much better quality than Ben TV.
Correct.
Like nice Crips program, good picture quality, all that kind of stuff. But they come and then a few years they're gone.
True.
But you remain. How do you, and to be on satellite, to be on Sky is not in Nigeria, it's not it's not a plaything.
True.
So this is not something easy, but you can't just come on here and discount it. Don't get me angry, bro.
I would do that, but it is actually true. I think that's one of the biggest things that people just say, oh, you watch Ben TV? Yes. Oh, they just annoy you sometimes. True. But you see, all the others have the big money to enter the market. We don't. We have a team. And our team will go out, source for the little revenue income that we can to throw it back into the channel. So we're not making money, but we're grateful that we're changing the narrative. So if people want to see the authentic story back then, because remember, Ben was there before the social media. Facebook, nobody knows it. All this new platform that we're using to engage, they were not there. So even when they were arriving, for us, it's like, we are not jumping straight into the YouTube, because if you still want to talk to the black community, you just have to come to Ben, right? No matter what it is. If it is the Prime Minister, Ben TV.
Yeah.
The Buckingham Palace, Ben TV. African leaders, Ben TV. Everybody knows that is what we are good at. So the difference is, again, that, yes, assuming we have the money, maybe we should disappear immediately. But we were generating what we can within our own capacity. And so we are... Resourcefulness, and more or less maybe one person might do 3 people's job. People like in my office, myself, we do 10 people's job. But it's just that it has to be done. We just have to keep going, guys.
And you get your hands dirty as well.
Absolutely, 2-4-7. Because it's something...
You're not saying like the boss, you do that, I've got money.
No, we have to do it as a team. And I guess that encourages your team as well to know that you are working with them. If they're going into the jungle, not that we have jungles here, they know you're with them.
We do actually.
Do the job. So if they're going filming, you might be there. Even if you're not filming, but at least you encourage you're part of the team.
Yeah.
This are the thing that I think sustain us.
Yeah.
And this are the thing I think that is key. Yes. So humility, without any doubt, is definitely key, because then you are satisfied with where you are, rather than thinking that I can cheat, increase, inflate prices for me to live the life I want to live. Well, for us, we're just seeing it as service to humanity. Now that we're taking a step outside, it's like, oh, wow, this thing could have been like this. Maybe you could have done that. Maybe you could have done this. But again, I don't want to have any regrets in what we have done.
Yeah.
And without any doubt, one can say one is grateful.
Oh, amazing, amazing, amazing. Quick, direct question. Why are you always dressed like this?
Nigerians love uniform. And I was a former chairman of Nigerian Diaspora organization, which is NIDO, which is a global organization that represents and bring all Nigerians together professionally to contribute towards the national development of the country. So from the diaspora. And when I finished my time in office as the chairman president of the organization global coordinator, I then thought, well, what can I continue? I love my country. What can I continue to do? And then that created something called National in Diaspora Mentoring Corps. which means let's just mentor people. So as a media, as an entrepreneur, I will mentor people who want to go into media and become entrepreneurs. So as you who you are, and you have extra professional line as a doctor, accountant, like what we said, please, whenever you're visiting your African country, spend maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, and mentor somebody who you can impart, either as an individual or as an institution, which means colleges and universities. So, and then since then, I just find it very interesting and very easy. And I don't need to wear the suit because I don't want to spend the money on the suit. So I use the money and donate to the charity back home. And then I just continue wearing this. Well, we have them many.
How many of that do you have?
I probably have 8.
8?
Yeah, minimum.
So do you wear like one each week, one each day of the week, or how does it work?
Yes. I tend to wear them more or less actually when it has to do with black issue.
Yeah.
Nigerian
But it's
issue,
not black though.
and African issue. Well, it's just like, I feel comfortable.
I get it. It looks militant though. It looks like, let's
yes,
go. Let's, yeah.
Again, actually, I can take that into account as well.
Yeah.
That for Africa to move and for Nigeria to really succeed, I hope the governors change the attitude of the clothes they wear. This allowed me to immediately pick things and start running.
Right.
While in terms of leadership in my country and many other African countries, exactly. That basically means that you're not ready to do the job.
The work.
That's just the way I see it.
Yeah.
So I hope that actually, rather than wearing my barry gown, all those, and they fold it in and living inside a car, when they get into where they're supposed to do the job, then they bring the barry gown out and then start walking swaggeredly. That, yes, I'm the governor. But excuse me, that means you're not really about you.
About you, yeah.
So I would like them, and that's why...
To learn from that.
Yes, the way, just simple thing that allow you to function.
Okay, a few quick things to run through. You've talked about wearing this, and it's as a result of your mentoring program and all that. Can you talk us through that? Like, what does it matter to you to mentor young Africans, young black people, young Nigerians to become something? Why is this important to you?
I have my daughter is a medical doctor, been practicing for years. My son is a banker, works with the leading bank. My other child work. I see the impact of education. Now, if some of us, I didn't go to university.
You didn't?
No, I didn't.
You run a TV station?
Well, yes.
All right.
So self-taught.
Okay.
And here I am. So if I can achieve that, I believe those with quality education can even do better than I'm doing, especially if they have decided on what industry they want to go. So the best way that I can do is to mentor others who are looking for the opportunity. And it's not by giving people money and stuff like that. It's by actually sharing deep knowledge of what you have learned across the years. And likewise, hoping that institution companies will be able to allow internship through their organization. So coming from where I am, sitting and communicating with these people, so the CEOs can say, oh, Alistair, well, he's doing it, and he doesn't feel awkward about it. And so that to me is a credit. And politically as well, I've participated in the echelon of the Nigerian politics. So again, allow me to know what the politicians are thinking by having my own movement, registering a political party, participating in an election, to know why, when they become leaders, and even before they become leaders, what they go through. So that is another experience that you can only gain by participating across board.
Right. So for mentoring young people, what future do you see for young black people, for the black generation, for the black community? Where are we going?
We can definitely go far, by far. The crisis around the world, especially here in Europe, should allow Africans and the next generation to really learn quite a lot of things, only if they're ready and willing to learn. The same thing on the African continent. Youth are the strongest thing that we have. If we can direct them, their energy, to be the best that they can, even just picking a sample number out of the hundreds of millions that we have, empower them, encourage them, they'll be able to open the doors for others that are coming across around them. Right. So I definitely believe that the future is good for Africa. I can always use Nigeria as a template. That the politics that is taking place right now in my country actually is good for my country rather than detrimental. Because people are learning, the youth are learning, and they're now beginning to realize that the power to pick and select and appoint any leader is actually down to them. And I hope tomorrow they get more insight to say, yes, we are getting bigger. From the north to the south and across Africa, hopefully as the youth begin to feel the impact of the way to become a leader is through the political path, they can do more. And so for me, the future of Africa is bright.
It's bright. Oh, amazing. You're speaking politics now. And I mean, we try to keep this apolitical, just to keep it about success and brightness and stuff like that. But speaking politically, I know that in 2019, you wanted to become Nigeria's president. And you actually did contest it to become Nigeria's president. But you did not become Nigeria's president, as we know now that you did not become, because you're not Nigeria's president. What was that experience like?
To be honest, I think it's all part of the business thinking. First, as in our industry of the media, you come across all these people and you have conversation with them.
Right.
Why are you not doing so and so? And they tell you the reason. And then you keep wondering. And then from the diaspora, all of us here, we keep talking, why are we not getting to? Because when you get quality leaders, the business will improve. The entrepreneurs will emerge. Things will be better economically, socially, and even when we talk about the entertainment industry, it will be bigger. By the selection and election that we have, it's increasing the challenges. So for us, it's like, okay, well, let's just educate the Nigerian people. And we're not going into it as politicians, we're going into it as movement directors. Create this movement to educate the Nigerian people, to look out for candidates that have merit, capacity, capability, and honesty, accountability. And out of that is what then led to the political party being registered through us.
Yes, Nigeria. That's what it's called, yeah? Yes, Nigeria.
So we did that in order to bring quality leaders to the country. And for me, I'm absolutely grateful that the emergence of what we are witnessing in 2023 is from the product of the 2019 movement that people are now looking into younger generation, exploring the avenue of saying, yes, actually it is true. Maybe we need to pick candidate, even if he's old, but he has the professionalism, the accountability, the transparency to nurture and redirect the affairs of the country. And that's where we are today. So no regret, but as I said, it allowed us to know the intricacies of those who are in office.
And you reckon you'll be back in future?
I reckon I'm totally retired from that.
Oops. Okay. Why? Are you giving up now?
Without any.
That's not what you've been saying all along, bro.
But you see, I did mention, for example, what you know you can change.
Yeah.
You do.
So this is Ikon Allah.
Ikon Allah.
The will of God. Come on. All right. Listen, we're going to round up now, but I know that you've had really, 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 really difficult times that you must have felt like no chance. Nah, it's not going to happen. And somehow it still keeps happening. So that's your camera. You're going to look into that camera now. You're going to, that's your camera. All right, good. So you're going to look into that camera. You're going to tell that young boy in Africa, young boy in whatever part of the world, girl, whatever else there is, that how are they, when they get into that kind of situation that you found yourself in, how will they move on? How should they believe? Why should they believe? Why should they carry on? Why should they think that something can happen? Why? Even if they don't have anything going for them. There you go.
Well, my belief is tomorrow is always better than today. That's number one. That you hope that you will encounter somebody that will believe in your story, your narrative. That's number two. And then likewise, you need to judge yourself. Don't compete against people, compete against yourself. Because by competing against yourself, you know your weakness, you know your strength automatically. Nobody needs to tell you that. And so for me, if somebody comes to me now and tell me that I can do A, B, C, D, I actually know if I can. And then I will try and key into that to make it become a reality. But if I know I cannot, then the fact is I don't even want to try it. I may sell the idea to somebody. I might be able to share my little knowledge with somebody that may have the capacity to change that story. So be honest to yourself, and the sky is not the limit anymore. Let's be realistic. Don't throw hope away, but be realistic to yourself and be contented with the situation you found yourself. But at the end of the day, if you believe you can achieve more, please find quality people. That's why you may have mentors. That's why you may have senior people that have the capacity and the belief that they can help you. Without that, yes, manage your position, be contented with your life, don't be greedy with things of life. And to be honest, then at least then you have less things to worry about. And that's my attitude. I have less things to worry about than I should carry. And I know the weight, as you mentioned, I know the weight of doing the media. I know the weight of doing the television. When then you just show content that is applicable in Africa, but not acceptable in the UK. Things like many actually, you beat people up on TV, you're not supposed to. Here you have regulators. So we fit it almost every time that we have to connect live to African TV station back then, because we don't know what the content might come. So accept your situation, but always know you can be the best.
Well, all right. Oh my God. Listen, boss. I call him boss because he's my boss, my mentor, my, role model, someone I've always looked up to. I am really, really grateful for your time on the show. I'm really grateful for you sharing your experience, for you coming to give a bit of your knowledge, a bit of yourself to us. I believe that so many people have been inspired tonight, this show. I believe that they've learned so much from you. And I do believe that there is so much more to come for you. And yes, please keep wearing that. It actually does look good on you.
Thank you.
I mean, it's you anyway. Everybody knows that with you now, so it doesn't matter whether it looks good or not. But really, thank you so much for coming on this show, bro. I really do appreciate it. Come on, man. Just give me the handshake. Yeah. I appreciate my brother as always. Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oops. That was really good. Thank you.